I'm very excited because this trade you can easily make 3 to 1, 4 to 1, and sometimes even 5 to 1. Depends on how patient you are, but it's easy to spot, which is why I love it. So let's get into this trade today. And don't forget to share the show with another friend and make sure you hit that subscribe button. The stock I want to talk about is AMTD. On this day, this white arrow showing you, this is the day we're going to be concentrating on, but I want to show you the entire chart because you're going to see this with the entire chart. When you're looking for a stock, you're not going to be able to see after the fact. So I want you to be able to see, what do I see before I zoom in here? Because I always look at the daily. And this daily shows me that every spike has failed, but at the same time, it can really go. So that's something I really want to pay attention to. But at the same time, look at the massive volume in these areas. The reason I want to pay attention to this volume over here is because this volume is showing me that there's a lot of people trapped in this stock around these numbers. So we're going to zoom in at these numbers, see what's important to me, and then figure out how I set up the play, because this was a great short that a lot of us can take, and you can easily spot it because look, here we go. We're going to zoom in here, and it's this day that I ended up playing it, and we can easily spot this because it doesn't do anything for days, and then all of a sudden we have a massive move. I'm going to explain. So the first thing that I do when I'm looking at a stock is I want to look at the daily chart, right? We're going to zoom in here, and the reason the stock would be on my radar to begin with, if you're wondering like how did this appear on your radar, is I would be looking at the big percent gainers on TradingView and trying to find out what stocks are moving very well with volume, and if they are, I want to put them on my radar because there could be a setup there. It's as simple as that for this setup. It's not very complicated, and if you're curious about the software, this is TradingView, as I mentioned. Link below will be there for you to click on, and that way you can get the same deal I have a great experience, great software. And this is something I've been using in the back end for some time, and I'm starting to get more of a feel for it and really love it because you can easily explain things and you'll be able to see here, and it's easier for traders to have a good view on how I'm explaining things, so that way they can ask better questions. So as you can see in the stock, whenever the stock spikes, we go from 130 all the way up here to 230. So that's about a 76% move. When that happens, that is very interesting to me because I want to play overextension plays. 70% is great for me, but at the same time, what's more important in this play specifically, if we go to the 4-hour chart, you'll see after this big run, we'll see there's a lot of volume up in this area, and we're going to go ahead and draw this area. You can see right here, and then you can also see right here. So there's a lot of volume here and a lot of shares being traded. And when that happens, that's an area of interest to me. And it's no coincidence that it's also hitting at this level on these prior days. The reason that's interesting to me is because remember, I said at the beginning on the daily chart, there's a lot of people who are underwater, right? So whenever it pops back up to that level, think about it. If I'm down, right? Let's go to the daily chart. If I bought all up here or even right here, $4 and it's tanking, I'm thinking it's going to bounce, go back to 13, and it doesn't, and it just fails and goes all the way down to $1.27, and then it pops back up to 230. I may be inclined to sell. That's almost 100% move, and we haven't had any good moves. That's the psychology here. So when this stock pops up, we're going to go ahead and zoom in here again, go to the 4-hour. You can see when this stock pops up, it hits that area of resistance. So you're probably saying, okay, well, how do you play it? That's where the tricky part can come in. And this is the part where you need to make sure that when you're watching this, that you pay attention to price action. What is a stock telling you? We know this day it ran about 76%. If we go like this, you can see that it's about 76%. We know that. So because it ran about 76%, that shows us that this does have momentum and there is overextension becoming a factor. But the other thing here, we also had a top out near that area of resistance, which is at 229. So what I'm thinking about is when I'm watching this stock pre-market, I'm thinking, okay, well, it doesn't mean it's going to be a short guaranteed, but I am interested up here in this 240 zone because on the prior daily chart, we saw there's heavy resistance and the 4-hour. So I am interested in playing this setup, but I want to see something happen. And at the same time, if I have very confidence, which in this case I did, because there was so much overhead resistance all over here, because I had confidence, look at all this overhead resistance, I was willing to play it regardless of getting a real signal intraday. And that was my call, because I saw this as a signal already that we had resistance and we had a hard reject. That was my signal. So I didn't need one at the open. Although when I start to get one, I start to size in even more. So even though I sized in at the beginning, let's zoom in here on the 1 minute, even though I took position at the open right around this area, and here's a chart, by the way, you can see my entry. You can see I took an entry here short, more short, and then I cut that short. All of that entry total was 1/4 of an R, so it was nothing compared to what I wanted to risk. And then once we had this reject, I actually went in full size, too much actually, a little 1.5 of my normal size. So I took off that 0.5 to go to a normal 1R full size. And at that moment, I was happy and I took profits all the way down and it ended up being a really good day. And you can see the risk reward is definitely there. However, it didn't even work perfectly. I wanted this thing to go to the 180s, to this support zone. So the risk reward is much better if it got there. I'm only taking 1/4 size because I'm taking it based off yesterday's move. As I mentioned, I still want to handle risk properly. So when it pops up and I cut it, and then we start to get wicking happening. You see this wicking action right here? This starts to happen, and then we start to fail. I want to get in full size, risking above that area, because this is showing me everything now. It's showing me a sign. It can't break above yesterday's highs. It's wicking around that area. We can't break above prior resistance on the daily, the 4 hour, the 1 hour that we reviewed earlier. So it's giving me confidence. So that's how I played it. But let me show you real quickly with this cool tool that TradingView has, where you can actually put your stop, your entry, and then where you want to take profits, just to show you the ratio. Look at the ratio here. And I was actually risking a little wide, okay? So I was risking right around here. That is a 3.4 to 1 risk reward. This is something that really sold me on TradingView, just how you can easily put this. The quantity, ignore that. I mean, you can customize the quantity however you want. I just let it stay on default because all I want to use this tool is a quick risk reward. So whenever you see this, you can easily be like, okay, I know that my risk is here and I know where my stop is. Let the trade play out. So this is something to keep an eye on. And I want you guys to be aware, it's a great software, link below. It helps me out for sure, but it's going to help you out too, because it's easy to calculate your position if you want to use that. But I also am showing you how easy you can use this to show your trade, explain it, and things like that, which is why I really like it. So hopefully you see the opportunity here in this setup. Let me know if you have any questions, and please do us a solid. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share with a friend. Take care, and God bless.